FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Given the emotional aftermath of 9/11 and the way it shaped, what is there, if anything, to say, especially to people in Israel, who would say, the Holocaust was a lot longer ago, but we are a society shaped by this extraordinarily traumatic event, which pervades our society and has shaped the way we see the world in the most profound of ways. And so when we hear someone like Ahmadinejad saying that Israel should be wiped off the map, some variation of that, maybe it was more ambiguous than that, but saying things that are extremely belligerent and threatening and casting questions about whether the Holocaust happened. This is someone in Haaretz wrote this piece last week, this is the natural and even understandable way in which we're going to think about responding. Is there a good answer to that?
Yes, there are good answers to it. I'm not sure that they're necessarily persuasive because it's very hard to argue with deeply felt emotions. I can't begin to replicate in my own self what it must feel like to be an Israeli listening to Ahmadinejad, talk his bullshit. I mean, we use the phrase existential threat in this case all the time, but it's not a figure of speech as far as Israel is concerned. I mean, the arguments are all the kind of pragmatic ones that, attacking Iran is probably a pretty good way to assure that they do get a nuclear weapon in the long run. The price of doing it, as we learned in Iraq, only more so in Iran, is going to be a lot greater than you think it is. The chances are pretty good you will screw up some part of it because so much of their nuclear, their centrifuges and so on are buried already, and they're burying them deeper. I mean, there are lots of reasons not to do it, on top of which, you will probably get a rally around the mullah effect in Iran. So a government that is not the most popular government, particularly as the effects of the sanctions hit the Iranian middle class, a government that is not that popular will suddenly command the loyalty of its citizens because it's under attack by Israel. What effect will it have on all the Arab Spring countries that are trying to decide, what impulses they respond to? If Israel, a lot of those countries and a lot of those people in the streets don't particularly admire Iran either, but there is this, it could arouse a sense of solidarity that would redound to Israel's detriment, serious detriment. So, I mean, there are lots of arguments that you can marshal for why it's maybe not such a smart idea, and there are Israelis who make those arguments. Yes. Quite effectively. But the emotional part of it is almost unreachable by those sorts of arguments. As I mean, there were lots of people saying smart things about Iraq, including the fact that you could trust the Bush administration to screw it up, which they did.